Hi, welcome to another series of stories from real working caregivers. I'm Zach Tomopoulos.
And I'm Selma Archer.
Hey, Selma, how are you?
I'm great, Zach. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I got to tell you, I did disrupt HR in Charlotte and I met some amazing people. And one of those amazing people, Rita Garnto, has agreed to come here on the show and talk to us about her caregiving journey and also share what a valuable resource she is to caregiving. So, welcome to the show, Rita.
Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to share my caregiving experience.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for being here.
Yes, welcome, Rita. I'm so excited to have you as a guest because when Zach talked about meeting you at the event that he met you at, I read your book, and we're going to get into that shortly. But I just thought it was just so unique and so
Thank
insightful.
you.
I'm looking forward to talking about some of those ideas that you have in the book. But before, we get to that, we usually start out by having our guests just share their care story. So can you do that for our audience?
Yes. So it where do I start? So it was a Thursday, and I'm talking to my mom about a surprise visit for my dad's birthday. So my mom was 75, my dad was in his 80s. He had back surgery, and had not gone well. So he nearly died in the hospital. He was septic, so the doctor sent him home, and my mom played nurse, which was so not in her wheelhouse. But so we decided, my dad was down, and let me go fly the 3,000 miles to visit him and perk him up a little bit for his birthday. So meanwhile, at home, I had just been a mom for a year and a half, an adoptive mom. So my kids were 3 and 5. I was running my own private massage therapy practice, and my husband was working full time. So I just go back to Thursday. So I talked to my mom 3 times. We said our love yous. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And then Friday morning, the phone rings again, and I'm like, wow, my mom's calling me again, and it was my dad. And my dad said to me, I don't know what to do. Your mom's gone. She's
Mm.
laying here on the living room floor. They worked on her for half an hour, and I'm waiting for the coroner.
Mm. Mm.
Oh,
So I literally fell to my knees crying. My girls are trying to figure out why mom's in hysterics. My husband came home, booked me a flight, and I was on my way to British Columbia.
mm.
And so that started the journey, the caregiver journey, which my brother picked me up in Seattle, and then we drove from Seattle up to Kamloops, which was outside of Vancouver. And my brother and I were like, oh, we give dad 6 months. Like it's just going to take 6 months, and dad won't be around very well because of his health. Well, it turned into 11 years.
Oh,
Wow.
And that first year, which was really a blessing, my silver lining for my mom passing too quickly, I really got to know my dad.
Yeah.
And it just so beautiful. Like it just was such a beautiful 11 years. It was tough, but so here he is. Okay, so now he's 3,000 miles away. So it usually would take 3 airplanes for me to get there. And over the following year, I made 6 trips. So I'd either take one of my daughters, I go by myself, or one time we went as a family. And on our last trip, was September, the 6th trip, I developed a pain in my left shoulder. And being a massage therapist, I'm like, oh, it's just from carrying suitcases, trigger points. Well, the pain never went away. So I finally went to an orthopedic surgeon, and I found out that I had ruptured C6, so my cervical disc 6. And 3 weeks later, I was rushed into surgery, and now have a titanium plate, 3 fused vertebrae.
Wow.
And that's a really big part of my caregiver journey because after that surgery, I realized, oh my gosh, I've got to change something here. I can't do everything. I'm killing
Yeah.
myself. So
mhm.
that's a big one of the big turning points in my life.
Wow. Well, that you just said something that we as caregivers all come to the realization at some point, and that is we can't do it all. We can't do it all by ourselves. We can't do everything. So, what do you think your experience, that whole experience that you just shared with us, what did it do in terms of affecting your career choices, what you you do now, writing the book. Can you kind of tie it all together? Like, how did you get from that care experience to where you are now?
Well, initially, I purposely took 8 weeks off of the massage therapy, and then I made the decision to go part-time, and then I rented out my office. So that was one big decision is I cannot work full-time. I cannot look after my kids, be a wife, do all that stuff. So something had to give. And I made sure, I went to my physical therapy and I started to take better care of myself, looking at how I could do that. Now, any parents out there know, because I mean, the sandwich generation is huge. So you usually have kids, plus you're looking after your parents. You don't have a lot of time. So the concept of simple self-care, meaning you can slide it into your day. You don't have to change your shoes or your clothes or drive anywhere or block out a big time in your calendar. It's something you can just do for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes to calm your nervous system, to give your brain and body a break. So that's really it was my survival. Like, it was my survival guide, and I still practice my simple self-care. Like, yeah. So, and then it led to, so that was 2011. So then I retired from massage 7 years later. And, now I'm a workshop facilitator. I teach stress management and self-care. And it just was sort of a natural progression. So I don't know what your faith is, but I really feel like my whole journey has sort of been like one step after the other set up by God. So, it's my purpose to serve. So, yeah, that's pretty much it in the book. Well, why not? Why not write a book?
Well, I'm glad we've got you here, Rita, because I got to tell you, Selma and I, we probably have interviewed about 40 guests, both on the podcast and then 40 others on this series. And those two words, self-care, come up almost in every conversation. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Many times it comes up, especially from a caregiver, it's not a positive thing. They don't like to hear the word self-care because they tend to think it's something luxurious, like a spa treatment, or a um, getaway with my girlfriends, which those can qualify, but in most cases, people don't really have the time, the capability, the expense, the finance to do some of these things. Why do you think there's such a big misconception between what you're doing? It's so important, conveying how important self-care is. Why do you think there's a misconception every time that comes up?
Well, I think our social media and that would be my dog in the back. Social media has led us to believe that self-care is selfish, that it
Mm,
needs to be complicated, it has to be expensive. When I say complicated, how many plans like lose 10 pounds in 30 days? You walk every day and you drink this juice and take these pills and do this and do this and do this. But who's going to be able to do that? Especially when you're a caregiver, your plate is so full.
yeah.
And so I really feel that not doing self care is selfish, because then you're not able to give the best to your loved ones. Like, if you're irritable and you're not feeling well and you're not eating properly or drinking too much caffeine or not sleeping, you're not doing anybody any good at all.
Mhm. Yeah. So, and I love that. Not doing self-care could be considered selfish. I like the way you said that. But again, people are well intended when they say, "Hey, you need to do some self-care." Maybe what would you suggest is a better way to say that to somebody? How would you say that to someone besides the way like you said it, not doing self-care is selfish, but what would be a way to maybe put it in their mind that we're not talking about going and getting the spa treatment today. We're talking about really taking care of yourself.
So if you think of the simple self care more as micro breaks, and scientific
Mm,
research shows that it just takes in 30 seconds you can start calming your nervous system down, your brain down, let your brain know you're not being threatened, and it allows your heart rate to come down and blood pressure to come down and blood flow to go to your gastrointestinal. Like, there's all these, it cuts off the adrenaline, cortisol. And so it's, we had talked before the show. It's like as simple as just it's pause, breathe, reset. Like just take a moment,
Yeah.
take a big breath, just be quiet, right? Take a big breath, throw in a toe wiggle, because that's really weird, right? Who wiggles their toes when they breathe deep? So then your brain's confused and it's going to calm down. So it's just really simple micro, even driving on I-77 and the drivers that go like this, like my fingers will be like on the steering wheel, to calm down. So I just want people to understand it really is very, very simple.
I like
You're
that.
having
Micro breaks. I like it.
micro
Micro. We're
breaks,
gonna have to
micro
steal
strategies,
that word.
micro breaks.
All right. I like that. Thank you.
30 seconds to 5 minutes. If you don't have a minute for yourself, I'm sorry, there's something wrong. And you really do need help. Like you need help if you don't have a minute to yourself.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's hard. It's hard. I didn't have my dad here in the same town, but he had an Alexa, right? And he called it his girlfriend because if he said the word Alexa, she'd turn on, right? So it's like I'm using the girlfriend. We had the image. Technology really is great. I got to see my dad every day. We got to talk. He got to see the kids, my husband. Um, and then, it's like, oh, please, Dad, don't open that email link. Don't click on that link. And, all of a sudden he's got, offers for Russian wives. And he's just like, Dad, don't click on those links. But, and then I took control of his computer, remote control so I could, help him with stuff. So, but still, it's an interruption in your day
Yeah.
at
Well,
any minute. So,
now if we can just get into the book a little bit. Your book, Simple Self-Care Saved Me. Um, and I pulled a quote from your book that really stuck with me, and I think is worth sharing with the audience. And you define simple self-care as any intentional action you take to care for your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. Can you talk a little bit about that? And I like the word intentional action, because that means you think about what it is that your body needs to
right.
continue. So can you talk a little bit about that? And that was really very telling to me.
Well, I appreciate that. So it's really in my workshops and when I talk to people, it's about increasing awareness of what does stress feel like to you, right? So that awareness piece that, oh my gosh, I just snapped at my mom, right? What do you want, right?
Yeah.
And like, oh, that should be a little red flag, like your stress levels getting high. So recognizing that and then saying, I'll be there in just a minute and just really intentionally standing outside their room and taking a big, 3 big breaths or having a notepad and writing down, I'm really frustrated right now and offloading all this stuff on paper or even doing some jumping jacks or turn some music on and you and your mom have a dance party for two. Let's have some fun and be silly. Like all of this resets your nervous system. There's so many different little things. You could stop and look around the room and it's like, where's my favorite color? And then it's like, oh, there I see my favorite color. It's all about distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I like that. And I like the fact that you involve the care recipient as well. The care recipient can participate in your simple self-care. So I think that's really great.
Get some coloring books. Get
Yeah,
each of you a coloring book. And there's so many available out there for adults, right? There's, big
yes,
flowers and then just like take 10, 15 minutes just to color. Then that way you're resetting your nervous system and relaxing. Your caregivee is calm and you're in the same room and doing something and you don't have to talk. So it's just little things like that. And there's so many things that are out there like that.
yes.
But
And
it's
you said simple, you named your book Simple Self-Care Saved Me. Can you talk about what it saved you from? Like how important is it? Why is it so important? What did it save you from?
I think it probably saved me from doing something very drastic and maybe not being here anymore. I honestly, and I share this all the time. I've dealt with chronic low-grade depression pretty much all my life. I've struggled with it. It's much better now. And I've had suicidal thoughts, like suicide ideation. So
Mhm.
even when I had everything I wanted, my husband and I, went through 4 miscarriages and 3 years in the adoption system. We had these two beautiful girls. I had everything. I had a successful massage business, and I would wake up in the morning thinking, wow, I'm so tired. What if I just wasn't here? Like, would that
Mm,
feel better?
mm,
And so that book that saved me. That honestly saved me. And I think that's why I'm still here. And I just, and to help others to understand, because I did feel very, very, very alone. Like, oh, I'm such a mess. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm the worst mom ever. I'm the worst caregiver ever. Oh, I should do more for my dad. And those are all normal feelings. And when you understand that and share with other people who deserve to hear your story and who deserve to be empathetic and sympathetic, um, it just makes such a difference. Like, it doesn't make it any easier because it's you still have that, but somehow the load is lighter. If that makes sense. Being
mm.
Yes.
able to share.
Yeah,
So
thank you. Thank you
Wow.
for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for being so vulnerable with our audience, Rita. I think we all learn that we're not alone, and we learn, how to deal with some of this when we hear from others who've experienced it. So thank you so much for sharing that. Sorry for the loss of your mother, and also congratulations on your girls. How old are your girls now?
19 and 21.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my gosh.
That
That's
has its own
awesome.
set of stressors.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but
Well,
like I said, my dad ended up living 11 more years. He passed away in 2021. He
hmm,
was almost 92.
wow.
And I mean, I was sad when he went, but he was ready to go. And we had had such a beautiful experience together. And he passed away knowing that I loved him, and Neil, my husband, loved him, my family loved him, and he was supported and loved. So
Hmm.
that is it's just, it made it, I guess, made it worth it, made it
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah, so I think your family would agree 110% that it's definitely worth it. The highs and the lows are all part of the journey. So
Yes.
we're happy to see that you've managed through the lows, which again, thank you for sharing that. Really important. You provide a lot of great resources in this book from your lived experiences. One in particular that we like is your list of questions.
Mhm.
And one of the favorite is one that is very tangible because as caregivers, we all have to-do lists. We all do. I mean, you can't survive without them. I mean, what do I do today? Got to make appointments, got to follow up on Medicare insurance, got to do this, boom. You got to make a list. One particular question that we really like is, obviously you're focusing this on the self-care portion of what you do, but are you on top or are you on the bottom of your to-do list? Tell us a little bit about that. What made you write that question and why do you think it's so important?
Well, I think again because we used to think self-care was selfish and indulgent, and it was spas and trips away and all this stuff. It's like, well, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later. So you push yourself through your whole day and your to-do list, and you're exhausted and you're crabby. Let's face it, right? And you're tired and you've had enough, right? Um, and then it's like, oh well, now I don't feel like going for that 30-minute walk, or I don't feel like doing whatever, and so then you fall off the list again, right? So maybe tomorrow, if you think I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go for my walk or do my self care or do something. So these micro breaks during the day just give you a chance to just get grounded and just take a deep breath. And I'm going to take 5 minutes and read a book. I'm going to color. I'm going to move. I'm going to have a dance party. So it is important. You need to be at the top again, because you're not presenting your best self forward. Like if
Mm,
you're exhausted, Zach, your mom's not going to get your best you. And that's not to make you feel guilty, but it's like at all. It's like, well, looking at schedules, what can you hand off?
Mm.
and what can you delegate? And let's face it, you can't do 100% of everything you used to do. You've got this caregiving, so some things have to fall off. So
Hmm. Yeah. Can you share a moment when that actually, when you were able to apply that yourself in your journey?
I think when I realized that I went from full-time hours in my massage office to just going part-time,
Mm.
being able to say no. You know how when we get asked, oh, can you volunteer? And we have a great
Yes.
church, right? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you help me with this? And, it's always like, I'm so flattered because you've asked me. And then I realized that no is a complete sentence. I do not have to explain, but I'm an explainer else. So I started to say no to things. I need to go to bed early. I started to go to bed earlier. So it's realizing what you need and having boundaries and
Yeah.
just saying, this is the way it is. I'm sorry I can't go to our usual bunko night. I'm exhausted. I need to stay home. Just it's just learning
Yeah.
to what's really important, what really matters to you, not what matters to everybody else, but what matters to you and is going to fill your cup.
Yeah. We should take a page out of these young children. My grandchildren, they say no very easily. So why can't we, right?
Yeah. So, Rita, you've talked a little bit about some of the things you recommend in terms of simple self-care, self-care. Can you just maybe summarize just a short list of things that people can do that take less than 5 minutes, but will make a huge, huge difference? And and also, if there's someone in our audience that's listening, what would you suggest as a starting point for them?
The starting point, I think it really depends on the individual. What resonates with you? What is something that does give you some peace and calm? The first thing I started to do, believe it or not, was I started brushing, well, not, I've been brushing my teeth for years, stretching while I was brushing my teeth. And I would do a runner stretch. So I had back surgery in my mid 20s. And so I've got chronic back pain. So by stretching, I have to brush my teeth anyways, right? So now I'm like just doing a runner stretch, foot on the counter and stretching. It took some of the tension off my lower back. So for me, it was as easy as that because then I'm like, oh, well, I don't hurt that bad anymore, and I'm a little bit happier.
Mhm.
So it's really understanding what resonates with you. And so there's three categories. There's in the moment. So something that pulls you from kind of the chaos out here into the moment. It could be as simple as that first cup of coffee or tea, like really focused on the flavors intentionally, like slow down and really taste that instead of gulping it down. Or the
Mhm.
deep breathing. And there's box breathing and physiological size. There's different kinds of breathing. And the second category is movement. So it could be as easy as just stretching, like, just
Yeah.
moving, right? Getting the blood flow going. Because one of the things when you're stressed is you have increased muscle tension and your muscles are tight and they're suffering. So movement's a great one. And you could walk in place, you can go for a 3-minute walk up and down the driveway, just movement, right? You can just like, shake if you want.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the third category is mindfulness. So it's brain dumping. It is
Mm.
journaling. It is making that list before you go to bed at night. Oh yeah, that Medicare, I've got to check that. Put it on the list. Let the note paper take care of it instead of your brain overnight. Reading scripture, reading a book, coloring,
Mhm.
painting, all those things.
Awesome.
Very
Very
helpful.
helpful. Thank you.
Very helpful. Why don't we wrap up by let's talk a little bit about you now, what you're doing for caregivers. You're called the HR stress disruptor. Tell us why you call yourself that. Tell us why somebody would call you and tell us what you would do for them.
Wow. Okay. So with the simple self-care, it really disrupts the stress cycle. And we haven't had time. I also have 20 years of medical background. I used to be on the trauma flight team. So I have an understanding
Wow.
of the medical and the science
Wow.
behind all that. Do we have another hour? Just kidding. And so I came up with a stress disruptor because these micro breaks will stop that stress response, will stop the adrenaline and cortisol, where you can just take a moment and intentionally just, right, just relax. Let's get your brain back on track. Um, and so what I can do, what I do, I teach workshops. I'm going to be starting a new series at the library, the library on Ray Road, South County, Mecklenburg Library. So I teach workshops. I do have free resources. I have a weekly text club. It is not a group chat. It is one way between you and me. And you get I give you a self-care mission every week, just as a reminder. Once a week, Tuesday morning, you get your little self-care mission, and that's what you focus on. Again, just to kind of put a different perspective in there, and an idea, which you probably already heard, but just a suggestion. I also have like the communities, newsletter. It's on my website. So
That's
yeah.
great. That actually will help when people are busy in their lives and they need to be reminded that they need to do a little bit of self-care, some of those micro breaks. So that's good. It's good to have somebody like you sitting on our shoulders.
Yeah, nagging us to stay focused on ourselves as a priority.
Oh, I'm just pleasantly persistent. I'm not nagging.
Well, how can people find you, Rita?
Yeah.
My website is simpleselfcare.net. My email is rita@simpleselfcare.net. If any of the listeners, if you have a question, if you want to learn about the Text Club, please feel free to email me. I love to get emails. Yeah, I love to pass on experience and information. It's really about helping you, the listeners, get through this difficult time that you're in right now.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much, Rita. It was such a joy, and appreciate all your patience, because behind the scenes we were having all kinds of
Oh,
technological
keeps it
issues.
exciting.
But I'm wiggling my toes and I'm breathing and I'm doing okay. How are you doing, Selma?
Same thing. I'm wiggling my toes and my foot.
There you
Rita,
go.
thank you so much. So glad I got a chance to meet you. And I do hope that our audience will take you up on that offer and just shoot you a quick email. Give us that email one more time.
Rita, Rita, at simpleselfcare.net. And I'd love to hear their stories, like if they could share what they're going through, and again, to understand you aren't alone.
Thank you for being here, Rita. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Rita.